Two matches, two wins for India. Two matches and one comfortable and two a thumping win for India. 93-run victory margin is no less than an innings defeat in Test match cricket. And that has taken India to the top of the table, 100% record. And the victory margins have also ensured that based on the net run rate, they're numero uno in their group. But despite all these, good news that I just shared with you, as an Indian fan, you're not feeling too ecstatic, right? Not how it should be when a team has this sort of a start in a tournament, correct? And I know, and I kind of get why you're feeling like that. I think it's predominantly because you still think, oh, there are a few problem areas in this Indian team. Oh, everything is not really falling into place. To an extent, you're right. But I'd also like to put a few things into perspective for you to look at India's performance with a different lens as well. Why is it that you're not ecstatic is the fact that we have become so used to watching this Indian team, especially in the recent past in Indian conditions, notch up, or in good batting conditions, notch up 250, 240, 230, like rather comfortably. That suddenly when it's 180, 190 or 208 or these kind of totals, we feel, oh, they've underperformed or underwhelmed. And I think that feeling grows even stronger, the feeling of being underwhelmed, because India happened to be against two minnows in their first two games. And so everyone expected them to just plunder their way through. So expectations were sky high. And that's why when they win comfortably as well, somewhere you're not feeling that excited as you would normally do. Right? So that's why I'm saying maybe we need to look at it from a different lens. What are the factors we need to consider? One, this is an ICC tournament. It's not a bilateral series. Don't look at bilateral series and the runs that are scored in bilateral series. Any ICC tournament in any format, white ball cricket especially, 50 over 20 T20, you will see a bit of a drop in average total. So if you got so used to seeing India get 240, 260, 270, get used to India getting to 220 on a very good day. That's first. So bring your expectations. Don't be 300 par, abki baar 400 bar. Bring the expectations down. It's an ICC tournament. It's going to happen with most teams. Secondly, the pitches. The pitches haven't been as good for batting as we usually get in India. I don't know what the reason behind it is. Bilateral series, a lot of time pitches are prepared, are under the control of the BCCI. ICC tournaments, pitches are given to ICC for a very long time and they look after the pitches. Whatever be the reason, at the moment you're not getting the typical Indian T20 pitches where 230, 40 is reached comfortably. So now keep that in mind and then look at India's batting performance. Thirdly, minnows. We did see there used to be a big gap between associate nations and full member nations, but we also have to acknowledge now that gap is reducing. You will see some decent performances from associate countries, and now they are also playing a lot of T20 cricket. They're also playing in other leagues. May not be playing in IPL, they play in other leagues. So exposure is much more. They may not be playing versus India regularly, but they play amongst each other regularly. And because of these leagues that have mushroomed, these players are playing there against the big boys. So that is why the gap will also come down. So don't always expect a thumping win or a whipping of the minnow. So again, I think we need to course correct or look at a win in that perspective. So if you keep these things in mind, you take a look at India's performance, they've looked good. Now, India went into this tournament as the favorite. Are they still the favorites? I would say yes. Now, look at any other team in the tournament. Look at a South Africa, look at a West Indies, or look at a England, or look at an Australia, Afghanistan, many were talking about it, or Pakistan. These are the teams that you usually look as contenders. Amongst all these teams, I'll still maintain that India has looked the best of the lot. Just that expectations are too high and we're not keeping in mind what the current conditions is. Having said that, I don't think that everything is really perfect in this Indian team. There are a few areas, like today it was looking like they'd get 240, but they just got about 208. 240 I think was a stretch, but I think 220 is somewhere they should have gotten. You've had a few hiccups in both the games when it comes to your batting, but I think there also we'll have to get used to the fact. I'll take you back to the Asia Cup, or I'll take you back to the 2024 World Cup. I think those trends are going to return because of the conditions that are on offer. That you will see a very high, if a team has to get a good total, you'll see a lot of runs have to be gotten in the power play. You have to maximize the power play. That's where quick runs will come. You'll have a bit of a consolidation period in the middle. Spinners will come into play. Hitting is not going to be easy. If you try to be extra aggressive, you'll hold out, you'll be caught, and then towards the end you accelerate again. So I think India will have to slightly course correct in terms of their approach. That earlier it was just bang, 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 just go like that. Just course correct. Start with a big bang after power play, a bit of consolidation, bang, bang again. So that's why I say that winning totals will come down. From 230, 240, you'll have to look at 200, 180, 190, 210, those sort of totals. And that is the adjustment that I would like India to make going forward. You'll see that versus Pakistan as well. I think 200 in a Premadasa would be more than enough if, let's say, India were to bat first. We've seen two games there, 160 odd, 180 odd. I think 200 odd is going to be more than enough. So you have to look at conditions and how the tournament is progressing. You have to look at that. Having said that, as I said, India, certain areas you'd want to improve. We don't know, Abhishek Sharma, whether he's going to be playing the next game or not. Suryakumar Yadav said that he'll miss out on a game or two. I don't know whether it was a matter of speaking or whether he'll miss out versus Pakistan. I have a feeling that it was just a matter of speaking, and I think they're confident. He looked quite okay while sitting in the dugout, and he's a must. That comes back to the Indian 11 once he's fit. For me, versus Pakistan, you'd need an Abhishek and Ishant. That is your best opening pair. But I'll also mention Sanju here. I mean, he didn't have an outstanding game, but I'd still say he had a decent game. I'll take that. 22 of 8 deliveries at a strike rate of 275, which I think was the best strike rate amongst any batter in the team. And as I said, power play you'd have to maximize. If he can give me 22 of 8, I'll take that. In that worst case scenario, Abhishek can't play and Sanju is asked to open, and he gives me 25 of 8 or 22 for 8 or 30 in 10. Perfect. That's the start that you want. The rest of them have to follow and do their job. So it's not a bad performance from Sanju. If an opener can give you that, I think you'll take it in the current context. But yeah, I don't think he's done enough to knock the doors down. As soon as Abhishek is fit, he slots in. Sanju again, unfortunately, will have to go back into the bench. The one area, the rest of the Indian batting is firing. The one area of concern I have is Rinku Singh. I'm a massive admirer of Rinku Singh, if you've seen our coverage in the past as well. I think he's fantastic, but I think now he's been a good 10, 11, 12 or even more games that he's really not come up with a match-winning innings. I know he gets a very tough job to do, but that's what he's known for. That's where he's made his mark. He'll only get 7, 8, 10 deliveries. He'll have to do his magic, which is something that we've seen in the IPL and for India too. But it's been a long time since that's come for India, so he'll really have to pull his weight, and on certain occasion he was pushed up in the batting order as well and could not fire. So he needs to really contribute with the bat. If he does that, I think then your batting order is sorted, because you will have certain failures, certain success, but some player or the other has stepped up. No, it's Abhishek someday or Ishan Kishan is another day. If others have failed, then Tilak stands up. If not Tilak, there's Suryakumar. If not Suryakumar, you've had Hardik Pandya, Shivam Dubey or Akshar Patel. All of these players on occasions have stepped up and won you a game. Rinku, I think, really needs to do that. He's been that weak link so far, and that might even prompt the Indian team to think for Pakistan, what if I get a Washington instead of a Rinku? Do I lose out too much on batting? Because Rinku hasn't given me that much run. Maybe Washington will give me a similar performance with the bat, but Washington will give me another spinning option. And playing in Premadasa, you'll definitely have to play 3 spinners. Either you bring in a Kuldeep but drop a bowler, or you look at a Washington instead of Rinku. I think those are the lines that the Indian team will have to look at. Also, in terms of India's bowling, Namibia started off well, USA also did well, but as I said, power play is where most teams will get runs. That's what happened with Namibia as well. They got runs in the power play, but as soon as the power play got over, that's where India's class comes into play. That's why it makes me very confident that India is still the best team. As soon as Bumrah and Varun Chakravarti, 2 of your trump cards came in, the game completely changed. So those 8 overs, every team will have to deal with. So people are going to find it tough going forward. And I think, even versus Pakistan, if you're having any butterflies in your stomach, just remember the batting lineup, somebody or the other always fires. It's still a class apart. And in your bowling with a Bumrah and Varun Chakravarti, you've got two cheat codes in that bowling lineup. That makes a huge difference, which I think other teams are lagging. Maybe there's also a thought that look at a Bumrah to come into the power play as well. Don't allow the opposition to get onto a good start. You can do that. Today you got him after the power play. Maybe that's something that you can look to do as well. The one other area of concern is going to be, you had a situation today where there was an unorthodox spinner from Namibia, and he did rather well. The slingy sort of an action. He was doing a lot of variation. Sometime, the angle was much higher. Sometime he went like Kedar Jadhav style, very low, that, didn't allow the ball to bounce. Sometime he bowled behind the umpire where he was standing. So he was mixing it up. And Usman that you have, Usman Tariq for Pakistan, is a similar bowler, and he's been spoken about a lot. Though I still think, I don't think Indian team needs to fear him, because he's really not had, he's done decently well, but he's not had any past history of being a match winner with the ball, not like a Varun or a Bumrah. So there's no point just hyping him up unnecessarily. But having said that, because today against an unorthodox spinner of Namibia, you found it a bit difficult. I think he picked up 4 wickets, and Indian batters, because he was unusual, weren't ready. I would want Indian team just to practice a bit of these sort of quirky deliveries or unorthodox deliveries, bowling actions, things like that, because that's what Usman brings to the table as well. He also bowls much slower, sometimes really throws in a fast ball, so brings in a lot of variation. I think there's no harm practicing a bit of that. I remember, the Indian team practiced against a 7-foot Irfan, the Pakistani bowler, with the throw arm specialist bowling standing on top of a chair. So just those sort of preparations against an unorthodox spinner of Pakistan might serve them well, considering they had some issues with I'm not saying exactly that kind of a bowler, but sort of a similar bowler that you had in Namibia. That might really help this Indian team. You let me know your thoughts about India's performance so far. How are you feeling ahead of that Pakistan game? I'd love to know your thoughts. Give us a like on the video if you're enjoying our content. Share it with your other friends as well who have opinions contrary to yours, and then they can chip in with their comments as well. Just a reminder, next time I bring my match report of the match, it's going to be from Colombo, from ground zero, after the India-Pakistan game. See you then. Subscribe to Sports Today if you haven't already. For the moment, bye-bye. Take care.